That's a good joke, ain't it? Fuck out my motherfucking face. Ain't shit funny right now. I could tear down a fucking building. Ha!
Doesn't matter. It absolutely does not matter if it's a joke, if it's fake or not, which I'm sure it is. You got the camera set up and everything. Doesn't change the fact that this is, when I'm talking to my people about the endless amount of destruction, failure, nonsense, stupidity, the fact that our black people, what we put out there for potentially the world to see of us, the information, the posts, the content, when the amount of things we put out there that is suggestive of us, the type of people that we are, y'all want to be in denial though. You don't want to believe the failure, the nonsense, the destruction, the pointless, stupid ass shit that we put out there. Literally. Far, far, far more than anything positive, anything progressive, anything that's going to benefit our black people. Far more.
Time to tell it like it is.
Somebody else just unalived their mother. I hate this new generation. Y'all some of the weakest, simple-minded, selfish. But you know what? I blame us for giving y'all or trying to give y'all what we didn't have. All we wanted to do was make y'all fucking lives better than what we didn't have and the shit that we went through. And this the motherfucking things we get from y'all. Y'all disrespectful, y'all lazy, y'all sorry, you don't want to go to work, you think everybody owe you motherfuckers something and we don't. Your parents don't owe you a goddamn thing. The only thing I can say to these new moms, new generations that's raising these kids, make them work hard for their shit. Have them cutting the grass, have them cleaning up, have them going to work, earning, make them buy their own shit. We're going to have to go back to just letting these kids see a struggle. You can't give them everything because then they're going to think the fucking world owe them. And they can't handle going through shit like they cell phone off. Ooh, they be want to unalive themselves because they phone off. And they ain't even paying a motherfucking bill. So how do we expect for these kids to be on their own and survive when they 21, 22? If all we done is gave them everything.
It's not you giving them everything that is creating this problem. The way she speaks, the fact that she devalues herself. You don't value yourself. You're not setting good examples yourself. I bet you she subjects her children to physical abuse as a form of discipline. There's a lot of ways, so many ways in which we are failing our children. You're being presented with a better way of doing things, a way in which you don't have to subject your child to physical abuse ever, and you're still disciplining them. You don't want to do that though. You don't want to go and do away with this destructive, horrible ass influence, this entertainment that you listen to or watch on TV or whatever it is. You don't want to do away with any of that. You do not want to do away with none of that. You would much rather be entertained than see significant positive change for our people. You don't care that you're subjecting your child to that. You say extremely stupid shit like, do as I say, not as I do. You know what the biggest problem is for our black people when it comes to parenting? We have devoted far too much of our time to nonsense, stupidity, failure. We're following the lead of our failed ass parents. You can love your parents and be mad when somebody talk about your parents, but you don't realize that you've been failed and you continue to cater to these same destructive, failed ass habits of your parents. Do as I say, not as I do, and dumb shit like that. That's just one example. When you say these stupid ass things and you're not setting the example, you're not being the example, they still see the attitude from you. They still hear the profanity from you. They are still being abused by you. None of that shit matters to them because they still see you doing it. It bothers my soul that there's something that is so massively obvious, and I have to explain this to my black people. They see you as the influence. So even though you're saying this extremely stupid shit like do as I say, not as I do, they're still existing in their mind is the fact that it's acceptable. It doesn't change. You saying that doesn't change the fact that they thinking in their mind is acceptable. Of course they're thinking in their mind is acceptable. Why else would the very person who I am expected to look up to as an influence, they're still doing it. This is the person who is responsible for guiding me. They're still doing it. Even though they're telling me not, they're still doing it. So it must be okay. Maybe I'll just do it when they're not around. I don't know why they're telling me not to do it. They're doing it. It must be okay. In addition to you, the parent, the very person who was expected to be the greatest influence over that life you've created. In addition to the parent, they also have this world that we're living in, this country, okay? They have almost all of our black celebrities putting out destructive ass content, this destructive music and TV shows and all kinds of different stuff. They're seeing other people do this too. So yeah, it must be acceptable. It must be okay. I cannot understand why my mother, father telling me not to. They're doing it. Everybody else is doing it. You need to be the greatest example for your child. You have the responsibility of being the greatest influence over that life that you created. That's the responsibility of a parent. You can't be out here listening to this destructive ass music, watching these terrible destructive shows, TV shows where we're literally fighting each other and all this nonsense, all this devaluing and destruction. You can't be out here fighting in the middle of the street yourself and giving attitude with this person, that person. You can't be doing all this shit yourself and expect your child. We are failing in so many ways and we don't realize it. We don't want to accept it. We would so much rather continue to engage and be entertained by this nonsense, this destruction, this failure, instead of cutting that shit off for the sake of our children. Do away with all this destruction and nonsense. Y'all don't want to do that though. You won't do that for the sake of your children. You've been both brainwashed and conditioned to this idea, this feeling, these habits and everything. You've been brainwashed and conditioned to think and feel that failure and destruction is how you should be entertained. That you should be entertained by what does it say about any culture, any group of people who glorify, who celebrate murder and all this negativity and violence and all this shit as much as black people do. I don't care what race you are on this planet. And y'all can try to argue, y'all can try to throw that same bullshit out there that y'all do all the time. Well, other races are white people. So fucking what? You don't see that from other groups of people like black people. You don't. That's a fact. But even if you're trying to argue that, why the fuck does that matter? Why does that matter? It's almost like you're trying to defend this idea, this want to continue to destroy yourself. How fucking stupid is that? Explain that to me. You have been brainwashed and conditioned to think and feel that destruction, violence, all this negativity, all this stupidity is how you should be entertained. That's what you should be influenced by. And you fell for it. You're eating this shit up. And then on top of that, so conditioned, so deeply brainwashed that you will defend this shit. There's no other group of people on this planet failing themselves as much as black people. That's a fact. Why else are y'all supporting all this dumbass shit? These rap songs talking about murder and all, disrespecting our women. Our women complaining all the fucking time about not being respected. Our black women are the least respected and all. I'm not even gonna get into that list. A whole long list of horrible things that are actually unfortunately true about our black women. But our black women are also the ones that are supporting the very entertainment, TV shows and all kinds of shit, rap music. They're also supporting the very thing that is creating this fucked up ass image of them. Same for our black men. How are you not seeing this as destruction, failure? The culture needs to be fucking destroyed, completely destroyed, and start over. You can't tell them shit. Tell me how to raise my... Somebody need to tell your ass something. You're not willing to give up that destructive ass habits and shit of yours, the destructive ass entertainment, all this failed ass shit that you're doing. Stop having kids then. Blame everybody but yourself. And then try to go and suggest that because you're giving them everything, you're giving them what we didn't have growing up, you're doing like you're this amazing parent. It takes a whole lot more than that. And I bet you anything she's the type of parent, because the vast majority of our black people do this. I'm betting she's the type of parent that subjects her children to physical discipline. I bet anything. The only thing that you're teaching your child with physical discipline is that it is okay, that it is acceptable to respond with physical violence when you don't get the results that you want. And you wonder why the vast majority of our children are here fighting in the streets, unaliving each other, fighting in school, disobedient. You wonder why all this is happening. You're teaching that to them. You're teaching that to them. You have to be the shining example. You have to be the greatest influence over that life that you've created. When I do videos speaking about parenting and everything, I get this in the comments all the daggone time. Oh, well spoken by someone who doesn't have kids or some shit to that effect. I have 2 boys who I've raised, okay, that I'm raising, all right? Very well behaved, doing extremely well in school, very intelligent, very well mannered. I can tell you, and I'm not just saying it's because they're my kids. These are facts. This is the truth about my boys. I've never ever once in their entire lives had to subject them to physical abuse as a form of discipline. Ever. I've never had to do that. It is completely and totally unnecessary. You have to set the example for your kids. Yeah, I grew up with a mother who would beat the shit out of you for any damn thing. This is something that I knew. I even knew this at a very young age. That something wasn't right with this. It's not right. I'm just a little child. This is my first experience. My first time doing this shit. I didn't intentionally spill the milk, but I'm getting the shit beat out of me. And I mean, I'm just throwing it out there as an example, okay? So often I see our black women out here in public beating the crap out of their kids or cursing at their kids and all this profanity and don't care how embarrassing it is out in front of everybody, demonstrating how failed of a parent you are. It takes a hell of a lot of patience being a parent, a whole lot of patience. They are new to this world. They're new to these experiences. They're going to mess up. That's a fact. They're going to mess up over and over again. You have to have patience. You have to be willing to explain, have these long, detailed conversations, helping them understand why or why not. Do not leave your children with these mental voids because I said so and all this other stupid failed ass shit that our black parents have a habit of saying. Provide a logical explanation, a clear understanding, a correct understanding. That's what you should be doing, because when you leave your child with that mental void, and they're seeing all these other influences out here in this world. There's all these other potential influence out here in the world, whether it's TV, social media, whether it's celebrities, what have you. They might come across something else. It may not even be related at all. But to them, it may make sense to filling that void. Now you've messed yourself up. Now your child has an incorrect understanding because they're using something that's not even correct or not even related, or even if it is related, it still is not correct to filling that void that you've left in your child's mind. You are failing your child by dismissing the opportunity to have a conversation, an explanation, understanding. I've even taken time many times before. If I don't know something that my son is asking me, he and I will go together and do research on this shit. You understand me? I've had these crazy ass situations out in public. People acting a fool, profanity and out of control and all this violence and nonsense. Unfortunately, I've been with my boys and things like that have happened. I have to go and have these conversations with my boys. Make sure they understand what happened, why it happened. Why it should not happen, why they should understand that it's not right, and so on and so on. Long, deep conversations with my boys about stuff like this. That is good parenting. You have the responsibility of being the greatest influence over your child's life. You are responsible for that life you've created. And then after you've done all this failing of your child, and they turn 18 years old, now you want to kick them out of the house. You should not as a parent be kicking your child out of the house at 18 or at any age. If you have not prepared them to be out on their own, then you should not be putting them out on their own. It's that simple. That's what you owe them. That's what you owe them. You don't have to buy them everything. Just because they had things that we did not does not mean that's going to make them into a good kid. It's so much more to parenting than that. Stop with the destructive ass entertainment. Cut that shit off. Just like the celebrity did. Was it Nicki Minaj or Cardi B, one of them, that had that nasty, disgusting music playing and her child came and she heard it and turned that off. Some people know better. They don't care about putting it out here for your children, but you can see in that video that went viral, they'll cut it off for their kids though. If you cannot handle the responsibilities, you're not willing to make the sacrifices, that are necessary for parenting to be a good parent, then do not have any kids. Black people, stop having kids if you don't want to be a good parent.